All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, July 24th. We got a 16-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, all of my final plays, if you do want to fade me or if you want to ride with me, all those plays are going to be in the pinned comment. And unfortunately, we have our second losing night in a row, which those have been pretty damn, sporadic or, not very often, I guess, infrequent during July here. But you know what? 2 in a row. We got to own it. The only win yesterday was the Angels and Mariners nerfy. Still only half unit plays, probably until maybe mid next week as we kind of ease out of the All-Star break. But the White Sox and Rangers nerfy does not cash. And then the Astros money line, I don't even know what we're doing there. The Reds and Braves nerfy was probably my favorite nerfy on the board and ends up getting postponed. So we'll see if we want to run that one back today. We'll jump into all of these games. But yeah, a 1 and 2 night. On the good news side of things, here we go. We got the ride of the day coming in from Bets with Last Kai. He had the ride of the day, Rangers money line. You guys voted on it. He got 9 likes on that one, and the Rangers end up pulling that one out. Wasn't exactly a no sweat bet, right? They win 3-2 and they scored, I want to say they let the White Sox score 1 in the top of the 9th. So kind of a little sweaty there, but nonetheless, the Rangers pull it out. We'll take the cha-ching. Shout out to Bets with Last Kai. Now, the way the Ride of the Day works, you use hashtag Ride of the Day in the comments, but if you hit, and we give you a shout out here, we continue to ride with your pick. So looking forward to seeing what Last Kai throws up today. Make sure to get those hashtag Ride of the Days in there as well in case we need to jump on board with someone else. And Last Kai, the rules are -140 or inside, you know what I mean? So nothing outside of -140, just to keep riding with the plays. But guys, let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. We got a bounce back spot coming. We need it. We feel it. We're not going to go too aggressive here. Like I said, we've had 2 negative nights in a row. We've had such a good July and such a good MLB season that I'm not going to act like we have to dig ourselves out of a hole, right? Like I'm not making a ocean out of a lake, anything like that. I don't even know if that's a saying. Let's dive into it. Atlanta taking on Cincinnati. It is, game 1 of a doubleheader here. This is the matchup that we liked the nerfy in last game yesterday, but we actually have a new pitching matchup here for game number 1. So I don't know how much I love this one. If I were to roll with that nerfy, it's probably going to be in game number 2 when we have, I believe it's still Sale and Nick Martinez. But in this one, this is probably the type of spot in which I usually tell you guys my strategy of doubleheaders where I say, screw it, let's bet the underdogs twice. I'm going to lean that way. I don't necessarily love it because Chris Sale's on the mound for game number 2, so kind of throws that strategy out the window, but the Braves are priced out for both of these games, in my opinion, so I don't think I'm going to be betting that side for the money line. I don't mind the over in this spot. You have Alan Winans on the mound for the Braves going up against Frankie Montas. Neither one of these guys, in fact, if you combine their season ERAs, you're looking at about 15, so I do think that we could see some runs here. It's just a matter of are both offenses going to kind of kick it into gear. Cincinnati, decent against right-handed pitchers. That's good, right? The Braves offense has been struggling, but they are the Braves. They do have the ability in the players, even with all their injuries. So I'm going to lean towards the over, but again, guys, it's a doubleheader, so it's kind of why we're flying through it. I'm not putting too much weight into it. Next up, we have Pittsburgh taking on St. Louis. On the mound for Pittsburgh is going to be Martin Perez going up against Matthew Liberatore. Neither one of these guys I trust in this situation, I'll be honest. Perez has struggled all year long. He's been a tad bit better at home, but like literally a tad bit better. Going up against Liberatore, who has been really bad on the road this season. So I don't necessarily know exactly what to make of it. Maybe you can say that Liberatore is coming off a really good start against Atlanta. 6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, 14 pitches per inning, just 1 walk. Like, yeah, that's something that we can definitely, write home about. And then on the other side, Perez has had 2 really bad starts in a row. So in this one, I guess if you're going to give me the Cardinals for even money, plus 100 over on FanDuel, I'll take them just due to the fact that I think that, one, they have the better offense, the more trustworthy offense, even though they only scored 2 runs yesterday, but they still beat Paul Skeens. So give them a little credit, right? They have the better offense, and I guess they have somewhat of the better, pitcher here. Now, one thing that I will say is a lot of these guys aren't going to, a lot of the normal names in the Pittsburgh lineup won't be in the lineup today because Liberatore is a lefty and he's really good against lefties. So even Pittsburgh, who has a shaky offense, has kind of switched things up. So that's definitely worth noting, and it could help us and benefit us. So give me the Cardinals here on the money line. In terms of the total, it's sitting at 9. I think it's a little bit too high. We saw a 2-1 game yesterday. I don't care about the pitchers. I say that the Cardinals have a good offense, but not always against lefties, and I don't really think Pittsburgh's lineup is that stacked, right? Especially with the changes they've made. So I'll lean towards the under 9 in this spot as well. All right, game number 3, we got Minnesota hosting the Phillies. I'll tell you, and this is going to be a theme, I guess, to some degree, because these series that we're going through, I'm like, thank God it's Wednesday, and a lot of these series is going to be over, because a lot of these games that we're looking at yesterday, or even the day before, when we've had our 2 losing nights in a row, it's like I had a long list of plays I liked. I crossed off a bunch, and the ones I left with were losers, right? There's so many that I crossed off that ended up hitting. Like Phillies yesterday, if you tuned into our live stream, guys, I was trying to get to the Phillies, and I couldn't do it. Zach Wheeler goes out there and pitches 7 scoreless innings. So Phillies were the play yesterday. I wish I jumped on board. Today we have a little bit different of a pitching matchup. On the mound starting for the Twins is going to be Steven Okert, but the primary pitcher is listed as David Festa, going up against Aaron Nola. So I do think that you obviously have a strong Phillies advantage here, but do we go and pay that juice again? Like, the thing that turned me off from the Phillies yesterday was the potential of that price, and they're at -135, -140 again. Aaron Nola definitely is the superior pitcher here, but he's coming off of a start in which he didn't look all that great. I just got finished saying Pittsburgh lineup isn't that great. 5 innings, 6 hits, no home runs, right? But I think it was 7 base runners and 4 earned runs over those 5 innings for Nola in his last start. So not exactly the best. It's not like Okert is a guy to look at numbers from his starts or anything like that. Same thing with Festa, so I guess they still have a pitching advantage, but if they have a pitching advantage here, I'd like them to have even more of an offensive advantage before we get super confident. So I think I lean the Phillies, but they don't have Zach Wheeler on the mound, right? They have Aaron Nola, who's definitely above average pitcher and a really good pitcher, but I don't think he's any Zach Wheeler. So I'm going to lean Phillies, but it probably ends up staying as a lean due to that price tag. And the way that I would easily explain that is similar price yesterday for Zach Wheeler as Aaron Nola today. I'm just saying there's a slight difference between those 2 pitchers. Who knows? I've done crazier things. Maybe we end up rolling with Phillies on the money line as a final play, but as of right now, it's probably staying as a lean. Total-wise, sitting at 8, I do think that Nola's good enough to hold this Twins offense down to some degree. They scored 0 runs yesterday, though, which is a little bit alarming. Like, do they have a bunch of runs, log jammed, ready to explode? Who knows? But I'm going to lean towards the team total under for the Twins, trusting Aaron Nola in this spot. He has really kind of shaky numbers against the current guys on this Twins team. So if you're betting this one, do some further research, okay? I'm probably leaving this game as a lean, and I tell you guys that in full transparency, so you can take that information and do with it what you will. All right, really quick, before we do jump into the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Sleeper. They have 2 free squares going on right now, and it is Wednesday, so they will most likely be dropping 1, 2, or 3 discounted plays for their Wildcard Wednesday. Today, you also get Justin Steele 0.5 strikeouts as a free square. All he has to do is throw 1 strikeout. And then Logan Webb, who's due to pitch later on in the week, I believe, you'll get that as well if you sign up today. You can use the link in the pinned comment. You're going to get 7 days, you're going to get 100% of your first deposit matched. I was going to say 7 days free, and I was like, well, technically it's free if you don't want to wager anything. So 100% of your first deposit matched. Go pick some winners over there. It's my favorite DFS player prop app out there. You combine 2 or more players into a slip. The better you do, the more you get paid out. Go ahead and check it out. That link is in the pinned comment. All right, let's jump into game number 4 here. We just talked about the man. We got Justin Steele on the mound for the Cubs, taking on Joe Ross, I believe. I think he's listed as the projected starter here for Milwaukee. Justin Steele's been having a really good season. Now, he is coming off of a start in which he's probably not proud of. Definitely his worst of the year against Arizona, 4 2/3. I think he allowed 11 base runners, if I'm not mistaken, 5 earned runs, no home runs, so that's good, but 20 pitches per inning, which is the most that he's tossed so far this season. So he either bounces back or continues to slide. We'll see. We'll get to that in just a second. Going up against Joe Ross, 4.5 ERA, but he's been pretty good on the road this season. The one thing I'd like to share here, and I think I'm going to be on the Cubs today, just backing the way better pitcher, okay? So first and foremost, that's my lean. But if you're looking for the Milwaukee angle of things, check out this. Against left-handed pitchers last 30 days, they've been absolutely great. 317 average, 151 WRC plus, 899 OPS, 188 ISO, 505 slugging. Like, that's pretty damn good, right? That's some of the best in the league. So if you're trying to make a case for the underdog in Milwaukee today for plus 130, that's your angle, the offense. But I just think that Justin Steele is, I don't know, I guess I would say better than that. He's got an expected batting average against this current team over 122 plate appearances of 250, an ex-WOBA here of 293. So I think that he's going to be able to go out there and do his stuff. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs as his main pitch. Milwaukee does hit the fastball as well. So like I said, there's definitely angles you can take and paths you can make to get to Milwaukee, but I just have to trust who is by far and away the better pitcher here in this spot. This ain't your everyday left-hander. Bounce back from what you did last game, Steele, and go pitch a gem. We got the Cubs here leaning on the money line. From a total perspective, sitting at 7.5, I'll look at Milwaukee's team total under. I think we're going to get some good odds for that today, just because they have been so good against lefties. Justin Steele is going to bring that number down a little bit, but I still think that we can probably get a good price point for Milwaukee's team total under. All right, we got the Rockies taking on the Red Sox here. So the Red Sox bounced back yesterday. Obviously, in game number 1, they lose 9-8. Game number 2 of this series, they win 6-0. Block goes 2 1/3. I think they scored 6 in like the first 2 innings, right, if I'm not mistaken. Cooper Criswell pitched yesterday, 7 innings, scoreless baseball. Good for him. On the mound today is going to be Nick Pivetta going up against Cal Quantrill. Nick Pivetta's been really good at home this year, and the Red Sox are back to going up against a righty. So I don't see any reason why we should be afraid of pulling the trigger on the Red Sox today. Minus 150 is as far as I would go, and I only see DraftKings with that as of right now. Other books out there, Caesars minus 160, FanDuel minus 162, ESPN and BetMGM at minus 165. So if you can get them at minus 150 or maybe even in the minus 150s, I don't mind it, but obviously that's a little bit priced out at this point if you can't get it at a specific line. Even in our dashboard, you could see Boston against righties, right? Like this dashboard we built, and we built this on Google Sheets, by the way. To get access, all you have to do is become a channel member here on YouTube, $2.99 a month. You get this link every single day, but pretty much what it's built for is to be able to gravitate towards the green, right? Better pitcher, better bats, even better bullpen down here. So pretty much a Red Sox play all the way for me. They showed that they can win with the altitude and whatnot yesterday. Just go do that again. Again, minus 150s is probably where I'd call it. I don't want to play this into the minus 160s. In terms of a total, I think the Red Sox score like 6+ runs again. I don't know if the Rockies pull their weight. I'm kind of hoping Pivetta has a good game. So maybe we just look at the Red Sox team total over or Colorado team total under, but we've obviously been burned doing that in game number 1 in this series. And then actually 2 player props that I'm not minding in this spot, and we may end up rolling with them. Going to be Chris Bryant as well as, I believe it was, Ryan McMahon, under 1.5 bases, both the same stat. I also looked at Brendan Rodgers under 1.5 bases, but I don't want to get too down the path of under 1.5 bases when we're looking at games in Colorado, right? But I guess those 3, but I would rank them Bryant, McMahon, and then Rodgers for under 1.5 bases. We haven't been throwing out too many player props as of late because we've been red hot with nerfies and money lines, that type of thing. But you know what? King of the bases is still here and reporting for duty. Oakland taking on Houston. I don't know what the hell to do with this series. Houston, we bet their team total over in game number 1 of this series. They put up a 0. We bet them money line, and if you guys watched the stream yesterday or you were tuned into the stream, I went back and forth and deliberated. Do we do Houston? Do we do Houston? The chat wore me down. We all rolled with Houston, and they lose 8-2. So it's like, what's this Houston team doing, man? I can't envision them getting swept. So it's almost like I'm inclined to roll with them again today, which is obviously just annoying because they've killed us twice in 2 different games in the series. That's why I'm like, I just can't wait for these series to be over and we can get to some new series. But Hunter Brown on the mound going up against JP Sears. I still believe Houston has the better offense. I guess I lean Houston, but honestly, I don't think that I'm even going to come close to betting it. Minus 150 right now on ESPN, and they've burned us twice. Like, yeah, this is probably just going to stay as a lean. The fact that I'm not leaning towards Oakland is absolutely crazy because they've won 7 of their last 10, and Houston has lost 5 of their last 7. Like, one team's even trending in the right direction, and Houston's just stinking. But I can't get myself to Oakland today, especially with JP Sears on the mound. I really just can't do it. In terms of the total, it's sitting at 8.5 right now. I'll lean towards the under. One of these offenses is not going to show up. It's about time. It's been Astros, and even if it's Astros again, fine, then we're still looking at an under, but I just can't see both these offenses going off. At least, in my opinion, Oakland is going to come back down to earth, or Houston's going to rise to earth, right? Rise from the underworld, and then Oakland's going to, not score as many runs. But if it keeps going like it's going, we'll see an under as well, because we'll see Houston score 2 runs, and Oakland will probably score like 4, you know what I mean? So, unfortunately, this is a spot in which it's probably all staying as leans. All right, Seattle taking on the Angels here. Luis Castillo on the mound going up against Griffin Canning for the Angels. Another spot in which I like the Nerfy. We have 2 good pitchers that actually have some decent numbers against their opposing teams. Luis Castillo in his career against current guys on this Angels roster, 129 plate appearances against. So I think we do have enough of a sample size here. Batting average against of 205, a WOBA of 330. Then we get to an expected batting average of 205, X slugging 388, and X WOBA of 309. On the other side for Canning, who definitely I would say is a fadeable pitcher, but in 33 plate appearances against current guys on this team, he's got a 30.3 K rate, an X WOBA of 223, an X batting average against of 165, and an X slugging of 289. So I think that Canning can probably do his job today. This total's way down at 7, so I don't think that we're going to pull that trigger, but I could see us going to the Nerfy again. We've pulled the trigger on the Nerfy every game this series, hit it yesterday. I don't think it's a bad spot yet again today. In terms of who I think wins this game, I just haven't seen enough out of, I would say, the Seattle offense to bet them at -185. The time to do it was probably yesterday with Gilbert on the mound, right? Now, today, I just don't see it. Now, do you think the Angels end up sweeping Seattle? Maybe not, but at the same time, they've won 7 of their last 10 games. So for a decent price tag like they have today, which is at +155, maybe it's time to jump on that bandwagon. But I think my main play in this one's probably going to be the Nerfy overall. I just like that spot. Again, both pitchers, even if you were to say, well, Luis Castillo, I say, is the better pitcher, right? He's going up against the better offense. But the worst pitcher has the Seattle offense to deal with, and they just have not been squat lately. So I kind of like that spot there overall. I like Luke Raley here, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, or under 1.5 bases as well as Willie Calhoun. 2 unders for player props that I'm considering in this spot as well, depending on what you can get for a price tag. There we go. We get Atlanta taking on Cincinnati. Like I said, this is a doubleheader. Usually I would say either bet, the first game or bet the underdog twice. The wrench in that plan of betting the underdog twice would be that Chris Sale's on the mound for game number 2. So I don't love that, obviously, but I still like the Nerfy. It was literally my favorite play on the board yesterday, so I'm probably going to run that one back, and I'll lean towards the Nerfy here. I think we're still expecting a lot of rain, which is weird. I don't think they're expecting much weather in game number 1, which is at 12:20 Eastern time, but for this one, which is at like 6:30, we're expecting weather, so maybe that helps us, maybe it hurts us again, but I'm going to lean towards the Nerfy in this spot. I also like Atlanta, but I don't want to bet the second leg of a doubleheader. I'm barely getting there to be able to take pull the trigger on the Nerfy, especially with these guys having 9 innings of warm-up baseball before. This is essentially like taking no runs in the 10th inning, you know what I mean? So it's a little worrisome, but there should be hours between the games that maybe they forget that they just warmed up. So the Nerfy in this spot, it's definitely crazily risky because, again, it's not like they're ice cold or anything like that, but 2 new pitchers. Chris Sale should be able to do his thing, and I think Nick Martinez could as well. So honestly, my only play in this one's going to be the Nerfy. All right, we should be seeing a good game here. We got Cleveland taking on Detroit. Tanner Bybee on the mound for Cleveland, going up against Detroit's Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty has been obviously crushing it as of late. This is probably another spot in which I'd consider a Nerfy, just kind of backing the pitching. But overall, we've seen decent amount of runs scored so far in this series. Detroit wins 8-2, then Cleveland bounces back 5-4. So it could be a little risky because we have 2 teams that Cleveland has the good bats. They haven't been as great in the last 30 days, but we know they're good offense, and Detroit's kind of on the come up if they haven't already came up already, you know what I mean? So we should see some offense here in this game, which is why I'd probably lean towards the over full game. But these 2 pitchers, man, Flaherty and Bybee, like, I'm not afraid to pull trigger on a Nerfy. I don't think I'd just go under, you know what I mean? So there's that. I could see the Nerfy in this spot. Overall, from a money line perspective, it's kind of coming down to what I'm looking at from the price point here. Cleveland's minus 144. You're going to give Detroit plus 125 with Flaherty on the mound. I just don't think that that's all that smart. Now, they are going to have, Detroit's going to have plenty of righties in their lineup. They have Vierling, Malloy, Kana, Kelly, Urshela, Baez, right? So they have plenty of righties in their lineup. Bybee is untouchable to that right-handed side. Lefties is a little bit more gettable, which he's going to see Green, Keith, and then Perez should be a lefty against him today from the switch hitting side. So his gettable side is not the side that Detroit's strong in, but a couple of those names I just mentioned, pretty damn good bats there. So hopefully Detroit can do their thing out there, because for plus 125 with Flaherty on the mound, I don't want to pass that up. Now, I will say Cleveland's bullpen, better bullpen than Detroit's overall. So maybe if we were to pull trigger on this, it might be for a first five, but Cleveland's bullpen's pretty damn taxed. So is Detroit's. So even if they're both taxed, that's why I'm kind of saying it's probably first five anyways, because whether one team's taxed and the other team is, and I don't want to get down that road. I'd rather just say, okay, you know what? Let's not worry about the bullpens. Give me Jack Flaherty all day long. So give me the Nerfy, which seems kind of ballsy because these are two good offenses, as well as taking a peek there at the Detroit Tigers for plus money, but probably in the first five. All right, guys, if you are not on the MGM Sportsbook, you are missing out as of right now. They have some of the best odds out there, which is obviously great, but they also give great promos like today. They have a 33% payout boost in most states here, so go ahead and sign up. You're going to get this top deal, which is $1,500 paid back in multiple bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So if, say, I'm a Red Sox fan, I want to go on there and go big or go home, right? $1,500 on the Red Sox. If they lose, if it wins, I'm going to get the payout, which is absolutely crazy. If they lose, you're going to get that $1,500 paid back in chunks of bonus bets, which I think I prefer over the one lump sum of $1,500, because then you can use it on multiple different things. But also today, on any sport, you're going to get this 33% payout boost, which is just absolutely awesome. Again, that's valid in most states. So if you're not signed up for MGM yet, make sure to go ahead and check it out. I have a link in the pinned comment, and go ahead and sign up, deposit, make your first play, and then you're going to get these two deals. And what I like about them, and I tell you guys all the time, the thing that I would say sells MGM to me is the fact that their same game parlay odds, I've yet to see any of the big other sports books there match it. You could put like a 3-leg or even a 2-leg same game parlay play in, you get odds of like plus 200, right? You can go on DK or FD or even Caesars, and you're seeing the same exact parlay for like plus 140, plus 150. Like we showed you guys during the NBA playoffs when we were doing those for a giveaway every day. The odds were crazy in terms of discrepancy. So go ahead and check it out. That link for MGM is in the pinned comment. Definitely, I would say, my favorite underrated sportsbook. Obviously, everyone likes, Caesars, DraftKings, FanDuel, and even MGM in that category. But people sleep on MGM when ranking them amongst those four. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Link in the pinned comment. Let's get into the last few games here of today's slate. Miami taking on Baltimore, and boy, oh boy, did we sniff something out yesterday, right? I liked Baltimore. I said they're a little bit too heavy favorites. Then on stream, we talked about it. The line went from like minus 175 to minus 150, and people are like, oh, now it's time to pull trigger on Baltimore. And I said, hold the brakes. Like, there's something fishy going on here. Wouldn't you look at what happened, right? They end up not exactly, pulling through for the people that bet on them. I would say 6-3, 6-2 they lost. Anyways, today we do have a little bit different here. We have Chase McDermott on the mound, who I do not know much about, and I never BS you guys. I know a lot of people on here turn the camera on and act like they know everything about everything. I don't know much about him. This is going to be his major league debut. I really don't know much about his minors. I think the last couple of years he's had like a sub-4 ERA, so good for him, I guess, right? But I don't think this is the day to bet Baltimore either. I do admit that, I think that they can probably get to Edward Cabrera, who's really just not had many good starts, but he is coming off of a good start, and it was against the Mets, so I give him a little bit of credit there. It was at home, but Miami's at home again today, right? So I think that there's just enough question marks to probably stay away from this one. I will say I'm not leaning Miami, right? Miami won yesterday. I'm not going to try and take a plus money play on them for them to win again. That's kind of crazy to me, but I just really don't envision Baltimore being a final play. So if you're on Baltimore, great. You guys know this show is built on Ev's picks, right? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. So if you like Baltimore today and you know better than me, go for it. I'm not trying to talk you off of it. I could see Miami team total under or even Baltimore team total over. Miami team total under is more or less fading the Marlins bats after a decent offensive day, not necessarily backing Chase McDermott, but the way that I could probably play this is, Baltimore's team total over, because then I can fade Cabrera, I can fade the Marlins, somewhat back Baltimore without having to worry about the pitcher. So that's how I would do it. If you're diehard want to bet Baltimore today, I'd take a peek at their team total, I think. All right, I'm going to kick myself for this one. Even on stream, we talked about it. So we're looking at Washington and San Diego, right? On stream yesterday, which, by the way, guys, make sure you have the notifications turned on. We just did a random live stream, hung out with a couple hundred of you guys for, a couple hours and got some plays in and all that. I mean, some losers too, but very, very fun. But I was like, I want to bet San Diego, want to bet San Diego, want to bet San Diego. Couldn't get there. Vasquez pitches a gem. Hurts does not. 4-0 win for San Diego. We could have got them at plus money. So hate that.
Brother, this guy stinks.
Who said that? Quiet down in the back there. But nonetheless, we're looking at a different matchup today. We have Mitchell Parker on the mound going up against Matt Waldron. Parker's been decent. Like, I don't want to say that I would love to back him, but he's been kind of like good start, bad start, good start, bad start. He had a bad start in his last start against Milwaukee, obviously a good offense, so he might be due for a good start. Going up against Matt Waldron, who's coming off of a very good start. He went 6 scoreless innings against Cleveland, and then Cleveland just got to the San Diego bullpen. So either way, if we were to kind of roll with this one, it's probably a first 5 play, but I don't mind getting the Padres at minus 115. I think they have the better offense, but, like I kind of always tell you guys, I don't like betting against teams that scored 0 runs the day before. Like, there's got to be some sort of runs on the way. But overall, we see San Diego, 3 straight wins. Maybe they're starting to figure something out. I'll lean towards them because I think you're getting good odds here. The total's sitting at 9, a little bit too high for me. I could see like a 4-3 game, 5-4 at max. So I'm going to lean in that direction. And then I also really do like the Nerfy in this spot. I'm trusting Parker. And then Waldron's obviously a guy that's tough to see first time through. So yeah, I could easily see this being a spot in which, this game maybe starts to score some runs later on in the game. But for starters, like 3 outs each, I could see them doing this. Parker's coming from the left side. San Diego does hit lefties well. So take that and do with it what you will, like I always say, but I still think through one part of the lineup, it could be good. Parker also throws, and if you are trying to bet the Washington for plus money, here's a good little angle. He's going to throw a ton of fastballs. San Diego, 27th in runs above average for, against fastballs, so not exactly the best there. All right, Yankees taking on the Mets. We got a bunch of comments yesterday being like, I wish I gave more plays and all that, because a lot of people be watching the Subway Series here. So we'll send a couple your way here in this one. I don't know what I'm betting myself yet. Keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video. But so far, right now, we have the Yankees taking on the Mets. The Mets, another one where I leaned that way. I don't think I ever got to the point of almost betting it yesterday, but I said the Mets for that price tag, like, you can't pass that up. Nearly plus 150. They win 3-2. They've also won, I believe, 5 of the last 6 in the Subway Series here. So that's worth noting. This Yankees team just continues to kind of slide. Overall, though, we could see a better game today. We have Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yanks. Been good at home this season. Sean Manaea on the mound for the Mets. Having a pretty good season. Has some spots where he looks a little iffy on the road. But overall, he is a left-handed pitcher, which the Yankees do struggle against lefties. We saw it yesterday. We might see it again today. The Mets don't struggle against righties. Even though they only scored 3 runs yesterday, still, last 30 days, their offense is cooking. In this spot, it's probably a similar type of a thing for me where I say, okay, give me the Mets then, because the plus 145 price tag, again, seems like it's just too much. So I said this already right off the rip. I don't think I bet it myself, just because anything can happen in this type of like rivalry or series or national, like, you know what I mean? But I just can't pay minus 170 for the Yanks. Like, that doesn't make much sense to me. Even if they go out there and win 9-1 like they did against Tampa Bay a few days ago, you know what I mean? Like, sure, I still wouldn't be willing to pay minus 170. So give me the Mets on the money line in terms of a lean there. I also kind of like the year fee in this one, which is kind of crazy. Just the idea of these two teams being geeked up, ready to go, going out there and scoring 1 run. The first run came, I believe, in the bottom of the second yesterday. I think that one of these guys, Cole or Manaea, could kind of, have all the confidence in the world until they leave one hanging, something like that. So that's a play we could roll with. And then from a player prop perspective, Juan Soto over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I like Iglesias over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs as well. And then in terms of one more, I had one more on my list here. We'll see. We'll update you guys in the pin comment. I don't have it written down anymore. But Juan Soto, I like. That's minus 120 right now. Over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He is going up against the lefty. He doesn't hit lefties as well, but he goes from a 311 average to a 307 against lefties. That ain't all that terrible, right? And he's due against Manaea. 0 for 9 in his career. And then Manaea here, his batting average jumps against left-handed batters. So does the Woba. So I think it's a good spot for a Juan Soto play here. And then, like I said, the other one being Jose Iglesias, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. 8 of his last 10. He's done it in 7 straight games. And his batting average also drops against righties, but he's batting 387 on the year. No kidding, his batting average is going to drop against one of these hands. It drops to 358. Not all that terrible. And he's good against the fastball, cutter, curve, and slider, which are going to be pretty much the only pitchers that Cole could throw. So I like those 2 player props as well. And I like the over as well. I said I like the Yurfie. I like the over as well here. 3-2 yesterday. I think one of these teams could put up a big number. So there. How about that for Subway Series plays? I just gave you money line play, a Yurfie, 2 player props, and then a play on the total. 5 leans there. We'll see what we end up rolling with, but I spent a little extra time on this one because all the comments yesterday. So go ahead and comment Subway if you made it this far into the video, and just know that I'm reading all the comments. The love, the like, the dislike, and the hate. I'm reading it, and we're going to react to it. So I know we got a lot of comments about, we want more Subway. This is an important series. Try to put some more effort into it. Probably going to go 0 for 5 in those, but still put effort into it. Comment Subway if you made it this far into the series, the season. Nope, the video. Can't even talk. Let's get through these games. All right, Toronto taking on Tampa Bay. Not me yesterday that said I understand why Toronto's so heavily favored, right? They lose that game 4-2. Not the best in the world there. They have Yuriel Rodriguez on the mound today going up against Zach Eflin. I really do. I should say I'm starting to like Eflin. He's had some spotty away starts, which is on the road here. Rodriguez, I would say, is due for a bad game, though. But today, I don't think you're getting as much value as you could be getting for the Rays. So I'm still on the Rays, but very much would I like to see them at plus money again. They're not. They're playing good baseball. They're kind of starting to get priced, out, because this is still not, and I mean this, still not a very good lineup in my opinion, and especially against righties. Like, they crush lefties, they've hit some big lefties. Against righties, still not the best. So if you're on Toronto today, I see it. I think you're getting a better price, but based on how these 2 teams, I guess you could say, have been playing, I think I have to lean towards Tampa Bay. In terms of a total, it's sitting at 8 right now. If anything, maybe we can back Eflin. That's kind of why I started this. I even kind of ragged on their offense. Maybe I look at Blue Jays under for their team total, and that's how we play the total, because, like I said, that my sort of bet on this one or idea on this one started with Eflin and hoping that he can kind of pull through on the road. But overall, like, I don't know if I trust the lineup. So, hell, if I took the under for the team total, the Jays, excuse me, and they win like 3-2, it's like, wow, low-scoring game, but we still won even if the Blue Jays win, because we faded their offense and their offense didn't win them that one. So maybe that's the move there. That's how we'd play the total. All right, we have 3 more games on today's slate, and I do want to do something that we did yesterday, which was good for business. I appreciate everyone that picked up some Fade Me merch yesterday. So what we did yesterday is we had the 5, right? And if you commented 5, you got a random discount. It was either 10, 20, 10, 15, or 20, I believe. Today, we're going to do a promo code of 3, so you have to type it out again, 3. What this is going to do is the first 3 people to use it will get a 25% off. The next 3 will get a 15, and then everyone else for the rest of the day will get 10% off. So we have it tiered out. We've already built it out, but if you guys do want to support us and get some great merch, we're doing some sales here in the summer, because you know what, I want you guys to get these products in hand. I'm rocking the Gambler tee right here. This thing is one of my favorite shirts. Any of the boxy tees that we have out right now, it's crazy. They're like heavy but light at the same time. Like midsummer, I'm rocking this thing, but it fits well, doesn't show the fat rolls or anything like that. So go ahead and check out fademe.store, guys. I'll put a link in the pinned comment as well. But again, the promo code right here, 3. You type out 3. First 3 people, it's 25%. Next 3, it actually might be 20 for the next 3. I think I said 15 to the store here. So either, you're just going to get one tier down, and then still, you're going to get minimum 10% off with code 3 today. We got tons of cool stuff over there, guys. Go ahead and check it out. The Gambler collection is my favorite collection. Good Day for a Parlay is probably our best seller in the last month or so, but this is by far my favorite tee that we have. This is just spitting in the face of the Guppies. The Guppies are hating. I'm saying they don't boo nobodies. We're having a beer watching the sunset. You know what I mean? That comes in 2 different colors as well. So, yeah. to anyone that wants to pick up some Fade Me merch, go ahead and do so. I don't think we're going to do any more sales for the rest of the week. We did a big one yesterday. Appreciate everybody that purchased. The warehouse was kind of like, wow, this is a little bit of an influx. And I was like, yeah, I haven't talked about it in a while. So appreciate everyone that purchased. Now it's time to go and do so if you didn't yesterday, because I don't know the next sale that we're doing. But check it out, fademe.store. Let's go ahead and jump into the rest of these games. Starting off with Texas taking on Chicago. Texas was the play yesterday. They pulled that one out, and now we got Evaldi going up against Chris Flexen. Enough said with this one, right? It's the heaviest favorite on the board. I like Texas. Evaldi should be able to go out there and do his thing, obviously. I don't mind a potential look at the Nerfy in this spot. I think Evaldi shuts down the White Sox like 1, 2, 3, okay? Does Flexen go out there and shut down the Rangers? Perhaps. I just would say the Rangers offense hasn't been like the scariest thing in the world, right? So that's why I don't mind it. So here's another Nerfy that I like. We lost this one yesterday, though, by the way. So we had Crochet on the mound, and still Texas was able to rattle one off. So, or two off, actually, I think, right? So there you have it. I mean, we lost it yesterday, but I don't mind the Nerfy in this spot. And I also don't mind taking a peek at some unders for some White Sox bases here. So a lot of bases played today, but I really don't mind taking a peek at that depending on what we can get. Like Nicky Lopez under 0.5 bases. I think I saw Paul DeJong as well. Like a few of these spots where I can say Texas or Nate Evaldi, go do your thing. I like that spot, but overall, not exactly my favorite spot. It's going to be a Texas lean, but obviously that's priced out. And then in terms of what we have for a total, maybe we look at White Sox team total under, but you're not going to get a good price for that. You go back and watch yesterday's video. I liked Arizona as well. So that's why, and I shouldn't say that's why, but that's the good thing about doing all these games, because a lot of people will comment being like, why do you give a bunch of plays and then bet, 4, 5, 6 yourself, that type of thing. And it's like, first and foremost, I love talking about sports and talking about it with the community. That's why we talk about every game, you know what I mean? So even if I'm leaning towards something and all that, like I could say it's not a lean. I could just say, oh, I kind of like Atlanta in this game, and then that's the case, right? Or I don't know if I'm going to bet it yet, but I like it, that type of thing. So I say leans, that's more of a term, I guess. But overall, like some people will get comments, not even some, a bunch of you guys will be like, yeah, I know you didn't bet it, but what you said about this game helped me make money or helped me play it. We also get the reverse of you said this and it screwed me, that type of thing. But overall, like that's why I like talking about all the games, because we can go through, talk about this from the numbers, from having fun doing it, and there's still tidbits that can come out of it, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the reasoning and rationale. There's two reasons. One, I like to give as much information as I can, even though sometimes it's all over the place because I'm a nut job. But two, main reason, I just like talking about sports, and maybe we can even stumble upon something in a game. We've done it so many times before where in my research prior to the video, it's not in the notes or anything, I'm looking at the game and I'm like, oh, there's a little nugget there, right? That type of thing. Anyways, rant over. Let's go KC, Arizona. We got Michael Wacha on the mound taking on Ryan Nelson here. Pretty easy spot for me. I feel like I fade Ryan Nelson every single time. Though I believe Arizona has the better offense, Michael Wacha is actually going to throw more changeups than fastballs. And the way that you've made money betting Arizona is betting them against guys that throw a lot of fastballs. Michael Wacha, not one of those guys. So give me Kansas City here on the money line, actually with a strong chance of being a final play in all honesty here. I could see them taking 2 of 3 in this series. I think both games have been lopsided, but I like Wacha here in this spot. Total-wise, you're looking at 9. Seems kind of high, but I don't want to really fade what Kansas City's offense could potentially do against Nelson, so I'm going to lean towards the over. Overall, that probably doesn't make its way into being a final play, but to me, this is just a spot in which I think Kansas City wins this one like 5-4 minimum. So, 6-3, that type of thing. So I don't really want to take an under, so I'm going to lean over. I'd also consider, and this is kind of risky, and you're not getting the price for that risk, but Michael Wacha under 2.5 earned runs. He's done it. He's cashed that in all but 5 starts this season, right? Which is obviously great. At home this season, he's cashed it in 7 of his 8. He's going up against, again, a team in the Diamondbacks that don't necessarily, crush changeups as much as they do fastballs. So I like the spot for him, but, like I told you guys yesterday, this is a decent Arizona lineup, and I could see them, putting up 2 runs, and all of a sudden they bring him out for 1 extra inning, and he allows 1 more. That's why I say it's risky, because you're paying -130, so the risk may not be worth the reward, but it's where the research went this morning. Michael Wacha under 2.5 earned runs. He's been trending that direction like you read about. The Dodgers taking on the Giants here in this spot. On the bump for the Dodgers, I believe we have Glass now, which is going to be the reason for how heavily juiced they are. And then Robbie Ray on the mound for San Francisco, who is it's not a guy that I'm all that familiar with either. So again, type of spot where I don't want to, bet it too much. He's been around, but this is his season debut? Might not be his season debut. I think he might have pitched in like 1 or 2 games. No, I think this might be a season debut. We haven't heard his name forever, right? So that's why they're so heavily favored. And I don't want to say, oh, maybe it's worth pulling the trigger on, the plus 165. No, it's against Glass now. So I'll lean towards the Dodgers. Maybe this is like a Dodgers in Texas parlay that we can throw in and get some decent odds. For that right now, if you put Dodgers and Texas together, you could get plus 120 over on BetMGM, plus 118 on ESPN, plus 114 DraftKings, plus 113 on FanDuel, and then Caesars plus 111. So maybe that's a decent spot there, but don't think I'm going to end up actually rolling with that myself. I do like the Dodgers team total over. Maybe they can go out there and score some runs. Who knows? But again, I don't think the Giants have as much success against Tyler Glass now as some might, think just based on the odds. So that's going to wrap it up for today's show, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that damn like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. I can't wait for these games to be over and we can get to some new series because we've been on fire in July, as you guys know. Now that record's starting to look worse and worse. I think we're like 49 and 20 maybe. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing there. We have to look at the tallied numbers, but nonetheless, once these series are over, we're gonna jump into some new ones and get right back on the hot streak. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.